Hello there, my name is Ben Worthington, and in this tutorial we're going to look at how you can correct your own essay. It's going to be divided into three parts. We're going to look at correcting for language skills, correcting for exam skills, and correcting your own paper in the exam. I divided it up into three components so that you can approach it effectively, and I think it will let you do this task with more clarity if you know exactly which part you want to do. And I know this because I've corrected thousands of essays with my own company, and I've taught other tutors how to correct exams as well, how to correct essays. So let's jump into it. Like I said, we're going to look at three different parts. We're going to correct for language skills, we're going to correct for exam skills, and then we're going to correct our own paper in the exam, which is a very useful technique to boost your score. Let's jump straight into it. So, obviously, you're going to write your own essay. Now, because the focus is language skills, we're not really going to be so concerned about doing this essay, about writing this essay in 40 minutes, assuming we're doing the IELTS task 2. So take your time. Spend an hour and a half. Remember, the focus is the language. So this is why we're going to spend an hour and a half just writing it out and really just focusing on accuracy, on the grammar. We're not going to be bothered about 40 minutes about, task response and these things. They're going to take a backstage. The main focus will be the accuracy of our language and our writing ability. Now, what you want to do is you write it out, then you go back and you check it. Take some time. You might also want to take a break. You finish writing, go make a cup of tea, then come back with a fresh pair of eyes, and you'd be more likely to spot the mistakes. Also, if you leave it a day and come back the day afterwards. But when you do sit down and you do look at it, okay, go through a different colored pen, of course, if you can, or computer, whatever, and you should try and identify areas that you think are wrong, obviously. And one way you can do this is you can take the exact phrase, write it, and then put it between inverted commas, go to Google and see if there are other phrases like that. Of course, this technique is limited because if you've got a whole fragment, you're not going to get the most accurate feedback. But at least little fragments, little clauses, perhaps, you're going to get feedback. Now, my favorite, okay, I'll tell you my favorite in a second, but the other way is you can get a tutor to give you feedback, get a friend to give you feedback. If you're getting a friend to do it, don't ask them to explain the grammar rule, as just from general personal experience. You usually end up more confused, can be possibly a bit embarrassing for the native speaker. Just ask them to circle it, and then you go through, you deconstruct it, and you say, okay, this is an article, this is a noun, this is a pronoun, whatever, and then go and find the rule online that explains why it is wrong. But first, you'll need that native speaker or the native speaker, just to identify the error in the first place. Also, you can find online services. At my website, we've got an essay correction service, 24 hours. You get your essay back in 24 hours, very fast, and we've got extremely qualified staff, an extremely qualified teacher doing this. If you just want to get ahead, get some feedback, and move. Now, move ahead. So my favorite when we are correcting the essay is we want to master the construction, okay? We want to master the constructions of the sentence, certain constructions, and certain sentence structures, okay? And then we want to master these, the specific one. And I think mastering the actual sentence construction is more valuable, more practical than actually mastering the rule. Okay? Let me give you an example. So we've written our essay, our paragraph, halfway through it, and we want to give an example. So we say, we can memorize this structure. For example, if the tests were never allowed to happen, there would most likely be serious consequences such as. Okay? Next one. For example, if the government were never allowed to implement such changes, there would most likely be serious consequences such as. Can you see? I'll put these in the comments. For example, if the employees were never permitted time off, there would most likely be serious consequences such as. Okay, so this is a conditional sentence, but we're just going to memorize this specific example, and now we can interchange it. In the example I gave you, I interchanged it for if the employees were never permitted time off, if the government were never allowed to implement such changes, if the tests were never allowed to happen. So we memorize this construction, and now we can just interchange the nouns or interchange the subject, and we've got a whole new sentence that's grammatically perfect. This is the important thing. It's going to be grammatically perfect. Now we can test with this. If you want more sentence structures like that, you want more constructions to master, this is what the online course is built around. We give you sentence structures like this that you can just drop into your essay, and hey presto, you've got a very coherent essay. Let's move on to the next part, and this is correcting your exam for correcting your writing for exam purposes. Here, what we're going to be looking at is not really identifying the errors, okay? Also, we are going to be doing that. That is a part of it, but the main focus here is improving the essay. We're going to upgrade the essay. So here, what we do is we go through it, look for opportunities where we can change and modify it. So for example, we could look at the vocabulary and look at opportunities to upgrade that vocabulary. Maybe we could go for topic-specific vocabulary. Maybe we could use a collocation. Also, we're going to be looking at, is there any repetition? Am I using the same phrase over and over again? Can I change it? Can I reword it? Yeah. Can I upgrade the sentence structure? For example, I've said this in one way. Could I say it in a hypothetical way? Yeah. Or could I give the example as in the past, or possibly predict future events? And what we're doing here is just looking at the body paragraph mainly. And as I said, looking for opportunities. Now, while we're doing this, we're only going to be doing this when we're at home or in the library or in the cafe preparing. We're not going to do this as much in the exam, because when we're doing this at home, we can experiment, we can test, we can get feedback afterwards. We can send it off to a professional essay corrector and get some feedback afterwards. Of course, in the exam, we don't have this luxury. We cannot really experiment. So in the exam, we're going to play it safe, and we're only going to possibly upgrade these sentences if we know the opportunity, if we feel safe with the opportunity. For example, we've mastered that conditional sentence that I just said before, and we see a perfect opportunity to put it in. And maybe we even got feedback on that specific sentence from the essay corrector a week ago. So we know it's perfect, so we're going to put it in there. Now, exam writing. When we're actually in the exam, what we're going to do is, once we've written our essay, hopefully we will leave a few minutes before the end of the exam. And in those few minutes, what we're going to do is go through and look for mistakes. Now, the way we do this, there's two different techniques. One is to go backwards through the essay, and just basically analyze each word. I'm not so keen on this, but it works for some students. The other way you can do it is just start at the beginning and just go through slowly. And this is a skill that you need to develop. And it's a skill that you're going to develop while you're at home. So in the exam, you can do it quickly, effectively, and you can most likely boost your score. So you go through and you look for mistakes. Now, when you were doing your self-correcting at home, hopefully you were making an error list. And that just shows you where the mistakes you, as a writer, were making the mistakes, what areas. So I was losing points in prepositions. So now, when it comes to the exam day, and also after you've finished writing your exam, your essay, you go through and you look for prepositions. You go through your articles, okay? Also, we're going to be looking for opportunities to improve, but in the exam, I think the best way to spend your time would be to look for errors that you can correct, rather than risking it with improving. So that's what we would do on exam day. In this video, we looked at the 3 different ways you're going to correct at home. You're going to correct your essay. The first one, looking at language skills, that's your main focus. Second one, looking at exam skills. And then the final one, in the exam, we're going to hopefully implement both of our self-correcting skills that we were developing before and put them to good use come exam day so we pass the exam. My name is Ben Worthington. If you need more help in getting ahead with your IELTS and getting it out of the way and moving up, then have a look at the IELTS course in the description. And don't forget that you can do this. You can pass the IELTS exam. And all the best and good luck. Take care.